Hi everyone, welcome to Impact Academy. I am Yashasvi Chitada. So today let us continue with the Indian Polity session. So today let us look at Prime Minister and the Union Council of Ministers. Okay. So in a parliamentary system of government, the Prime Minister occupies a unique position as the most powerful functionary who controls both Parliament and the executive. So even though we have the President as a nominal head, it is the Prime Minister who is the actual executive head. So the Prime Minister is appointed by the President. So who appoints whom and to whom the resignation is handed over, all those things are important. So Prime Minister is appointed by the President. Other ministers are appointed or dismissed by the President on the advice of the Prime Minister. So basically, all the ministers, all the ministers are appointed by the President. Okay, but on the advice of the Prime Minister. Prime Minister must be the leader of the party in majority in the Lok Sabha or a person who can win the confidence of the majority in that particular house. So it can be both from the Lok Sabha or the Rajya Sabha also. So as the head of the Council of Ministers, the Prime Minister is the head of the government. Also, he or she is the leader of his or her party and a coalition of parties in parliament and usually leader of the popular house. Usually leader of the Lok Sabha, but it can also be from the Rajya Sabha. So the PM enjoys large powers of patronage. All the ministers are appointed at his or her recommendation and stand dismissed at his or her demand. So on the advice of the Prime Minister, the ministers are appointed by the President. So the PM allots work among the ministers. Also, he or she can change their portfolio. The PM is the channel of communication between Council of Ministers and the President. So ministers get the salaries and allowances, etc., as payable to members of Parliament. So ministers are getting salaries equal to the MP. Okay. In addition, they get a sumptuary allowance at varying scale and residence free of rent. So cabinet ministers attend meeting of the cabinet. Okay. So ministers of state are not members of the cabinet and they can attend a cabinet meeting only if invited to attend any particular meeting. So we have cabinet ministers and ministers of state. For example, if you take finance department, you have the finance minister and there is a minister of state for finance. Okay. So minister of state are not exactly members of the cabinet and they can only attend if invited. A deputy minister assists the minister in discharge of his duties and takes no part in cabinet meetings. So there is no bar to the appointment of a non-MP as minister, but he cannot continue as minister for more than 6 months unless he secures a seat in either house of the parliament. So, so even if you have not won the election, you can still become a minister, including chief minister or the prime minister. But within 6 months, you have to get at least you have to become a member of either house of parliament. Either you have to get elected to Rajya Sabha or Lok Sabha. Okay. So though the ministers are collectively responsible to the legislature, they are individually responsible to the president. Okay. So such statements are usually asked in questions. So there is collective responsibility for the ministers. They are collectively responsible to the legislature. Okay, because the ministers, cabinet ministers, they take decisions together. So even if you are say minister of finance, you are minister of education. Okay, so you are collectively responsible to the legislature. So you can discuss about issues about everything. You not what do you say limit yourself to that particular department. So minister can take part in the proceedings of both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, but he or she can vote only if she is a member of that house. So if the Prime Minister is from the Rajya Sabha, then he cannot vote in the Lok Sabha. He can only vote in the Rajya Sabha. Okay, so if but if you are whether you are from the Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, you can become a minister, including the Prime Minister or Chief Minister also. Okay, so a minister can take part in the proceedings of both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So once you are a minister, you can attend proceedings of both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So even such questions are frequently asked. So they'll say that a minister a minister who is from Lok Sabha cannot attend proceedings of the Rajya Sabha. Okay, if such a statement is given, you have to identify that it is false. Okay, once you become a minister, you can attend both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So let us look at the Prime Minister and Chief Minister differences. Okay. So Constitution has not specified procedure for selection of the PM. Article 75, Prime Minister shall be appointed by the President. President has to appoint leader of majority party in the Lok Sabha. So if we are talking about Article 75, so yesterday we have seen President is 52, right? So 52 is President of India. We've seen election of President, qualifications 58, oath 60, procedure for impeachment is 61. So we've seen all these things. 72 is power of President to grant pardons. It's very important. Vice President is 63. So 52 is President, 63 is Vice President. Then 74 is Council of Ministers to aid and advise the President. So that is one thing. And 75 is other provisions as to ministers. So you can see that specifically uh, there is a like Article 52 which talks about the President of India. There is no specific article about the Prime Minister, but these articles, okay, the Council of Ministers, they talk about Prime Minister as well. So, so we have seen this also. 78 is duty of the Prime Minister as respect to furnishing information to the President. So whenever the President requests information, it is the duty of the Prime Minister to furnish the information. Okay. So Article 75. When no majority, President can apply his discretion. When there is no clear majority, then the President can apply the discretion. For example, President Neelam Sanjeev Reddy appointed Charan Singh. So President may first appoint PM and then ask to prove his majority in the Lok Sabha. Okay. So in 1997, Supreme Court held that a person not a member of either house can be appointed as PM for 6 months, within which he should become a member of any of the house. Okay, so remember this, for 6 months, even if you are not a member of any house, that is, you are not a MP of Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, or anything, you can still become the Prime Minister also. If you look at the Chief Minister, Constitution has not specified any procedure for the election of Chief Minister. Okay, Article 164, Chief Minister shall be appointed by the Governor. Governor has to appoint the leader of the majority party in the state legislative assembly. So we have already seen Governor is 153, right? So 153 is Governor of state. Okay, and here we have seen 161. There it is 72, right? Power of pardons by President is 72. Here it is 161. Power of pardons and qualifications. There is no impeachment, as in case of president. You have impeachment. Governors, there is no impeachment. It can be removed as per the pleasure of the president. And 163 is Council of Ministers to aid and advise governor, and 164 other provisions as to ministers. So in this 164, this is coming. Chief Minister shall be appointed by the governor. He is from the majority party. When no majority is there, then governor can apply discretion. Governor may first appoint CM and then ask to prove his majority in the state legislative assembly. Person not member of either house can be appointed as CM for 6 months, within which he should become member of any of the house. So this is one frequently asked question, which can be tricky. So the term of the prime minister is not fixed. That is a big problem, because every 5 years we have elections. So once you become a PM or CM, usually it is for 5 years, right? But as per the constitution, there is no fixed term. So you might think this is a wrong statement, but if you observe carefully, the term is not fixed, and he holds office only during the pleasure of the president. So that is why we have seen so many CMs and PMs who have been, who lost the confidence of the house. Okay, and obviously they'll be removed by the president. Okay, so again for chief minister also it is not fixed, and hold office during the pleasure of the governor. And Article 78 says PM acts as a channel of communication between President and the Council of Ministers. Okay, whatever is required, the PM has to furnish. So if you look at the Council of Ministers, Article 74, the Council of Ministers to aid and advise the President. President shall act according to the advice tendered. Advice tendered by ministers shall not be inquired in courts. Okay, the president cannot take his own decision. He has to act according to the advice tendered. In Article 163, Council with Chief Minister aid and advise the governor, except the governor uses his discretion. So previously, this was never the case. Like usually, governors never used to use their discretion. But these days, It is frequently in news. Governors are more and more using their discretion. Okay, so more questions are coming based on governor these days. So anything related to governor, try to remember articles also. So Article 75, Council of Ministers on advice of PM appointed by President. Total number of Council of Ministers plus PM shall not exceed 15% of the total members. So this is very important. Okay, total members more than 15% cannot be ministers. Okay, otherwise, if, everybody wants to become a minister, right? Due to political compulsions, different people, if you want to become a CM, okay, and you can say we'll have 50 ministers, 60 ministers, okay. So such problems have arisen in the past. So there is only 15% of the total members of the Lok Sabha can become ministers, including the PM. So and they hold office during the pleasure of the president. Article 75, when Lok Sabha passes a no confidence motion against the Council of Ministers, all ministers, including those ministers who are members of Rajya Sabha, have to resign. Okay, so this is important. Such a question can be asked. See, so even in the Lok Sabha, if a no confidence motion is passed, even those who are belonging to the Rajya Sabha, if they are ministers, they have to resign. Okay, because they hold office only as long as the house has the confidence. Once there is no confidence, that is, there is no majority in the house, then they lose the confidence and they lose what is it, the government. So Article 164, other ministers shall be appointed on the advice of chief minister by governor. If members of either house disqualified on the grounds of defection, also disqualified to be appointed as members. So if you are not a member, if you are disqualified due to defection, then you cannot be made as a minister. So satisfaction of president is equal to satisfaction of council of ministers. Okay, he has to act on the aided advice of the council of ministers. Article 74. Council of ministers is constitutional body, whereas cabinet ministers only mentioned in Article 352 of national emergency. Originally, it was not mentioned. Okay, so this also can be asked. Council of Ministers is a constitutional body, and the cabinet ministers is only mentioned in Article 352. That too, it was not there originally; it was later added. So, Council of Ministers is the word that is used in the Constitution. Cabinet ministers are actual center of power as they supervise the Council of Ministers. So, cabinet committees, they are extra constitutional body provided by rules of business. They are set up by the Prime Minister as per the requirement. So, like cabinet committees chaired by PMR, appointment of economic affairs committee, okay, appointment committee, political affairs committee, security committee, investment and growth committee, skill development committee. They are committees which are set up by the Prime Minister. Parliamentary Affairs Committee is chaired by the Home Minister. Cabinet Secretariat, preparation of agenda of cabinet meetings, secretarial assistance to the cabinet, etc., etc. Okay, so that is about the Council of Ministers. Try to remember all these articles: 74, 75, 163, 164. President is 52, Vice President 63, Governor is 152. Okay, so all these things, try to remember as many as articles as possible. And we have seen the differences between Prime Minister and Chief Minister. Okay, thank you.